Hi guys, welcome back to Spelling and Word Study. My name is Mrs. Rhoades and I'm here today to get you started on Unit 8, Long A Rule Breakers. Please take a second to gather your materials. You'll need your blue book open to page 53. You'll also need some colorful pens, markers, or crayons. Remember, whatever I do on this board, you should be doing on your page. Please save room for a key as well. If it doesn't fit on here, a separate sheet of paper is fine. If at any point I'm moving too fast, please pause the video and catch up. All right, so last week we started our study of long vowels and we talked about long A. We said there are 3 common ways to make the long A sound. You can use A, consonant silent E, we call that the bossy E. You can use a vowel team such as AI or AY, or you can use an open syllable, which means the A is by itself at the end of a syllable. So we looked at all of that last week. This week we are going to look at some long A rule breakers. So this week we're going to see AI teams that don't say A. We're going to see A consonant E making a short I sound instead of a long A. And we're going to see the EA pattern, which would normally make a long E sound, this time making long A. So this is kind of just a mix of important words that you should know about, but words that don't follow the typical patterns. Okay, so think about that, excuse me, as we read the words. Please repeat after me. Again, against, bargain, break, captain, climate, curtain, great, palette, pirate, private, senate, stake, template, and villain. Okay, probably didn't hear a lot of long A sounds in that list, although there were long A patterns. So just as we always do, let's break our words into syllables, starting with again after the A, against after the A, bargain after the R, break is 1 syllable, captain after the P, climate after the I, curtain after the R, great is 1 syllable, palette after the L, pirate after the I, private after the I, senate after the N, stake 1 syllable, template after the M, and villain between the double L's. In our key, a brown vertical line equals syllable break. All right, now let's go through our words and we're going to check off the stressed syllable. That's the part that we say a little bit louder and stronger. So we have the 2nd syllable in again, against, 2nd syllable, bargain, 1st syllable. We're going to skip the 1 syllable words. Captain, 1st, climate, 1st, curtain, 1st, great, we'll skip, palette, 1st, pirate, 1st, private, 1st, senate, 1st, skip stake, template, 1st, and villain, 1st, template. Yeah. Okay, so in each of these words, we have checked off the stressed syllable. Now, this week, the stressed syllables are very easy to pronounce and spell. Bar, cap, cly, occur, you're not going to have trouble with those. It's the unstressed syllables where we start seeing some weird patterns showing up. So that's what we're going to focus on. But let's look at these two words for a second, because this is a pattern that you've probably not seen before and probably won't see in other words. AI in these words says in again and against. Actually, you have seen this pattern before, because this is a word, the word said, that I'm sure you've seen a million times. Okay, so usually AI would say A, but in these three words, it's breaking the rules. So we're going to say purple box means AI says that's the symbol for a short E. Okay, so said, again, against. Just remember that the AI says Okay, now let's move on to our unstressed syllables. So if you look at the word bargain, there's that AI again, but it's not saying A, and it's not saying It's actually taking on a short I sound. Bargain, We see that in bargain, in captain, in curtain, and in villain. In each of these words, the AI says It's making a short I sound. Okay? All right. Then let's look at the EA in break. Now, you first learned a couple years ago that EA says E in words like read and meet. And then you learned that it sometimes says in words like head or bread. Well, now there are 3 times where EA says A. So you just have to memorize it. It shows up in break and great and steak. Just memorize the spellings of those 3 words and know that EA says A. It makes the long A sound. Okay? All right, and then our last pattern, over here we have this A consonant E. You would think that the E would make the A say its name and it would say 8, but that's not the case. It says it, climb it, pal it, pirate, private, senate, and template. So in all these words, the ATE says it. It makes a short I-T sound. Okay? So, it's just a good idea to start noticing those patterns, that ATE, the AIN. You'll see those in lots of bigger words as well. Okay, so that's it for the patterns. Last week we talked about open syllables with A, but I just want to draw your attention to a couple words here in our stressed syllable. We have pirate with the long I and private with the long I. And climate. Okay, so there are some open syllables this week. Not really the focus of our learning, but still a good review from last week. Okay, remember, when a syllable ends with a single vowel by itself, that vowel is going to say its name. Cly, pie, and pry. Okay. This week we're not talking about prefixes or suffixes. I don't have any new roots for you, but what I do want to talk about are homophones. because you'll notice this word great is a homophone, right? Great can mean awesome, or it can mean large. Like think about numbers that are greater than or less than. So great can mean awesome or large. But there's another kind of great that's spelled like this, G-R-A-T-E, and that's what you do with cheese. You use a grater to grate or shred the cheese. So there's a homophone. Right here is another homophone. This kind of break could mean a rest, like, okay, it's my lunch break, so I'm gonna rest for a little bit. Or it can be a verb, which means to like snap into pieces. Like you break a piece of chalk or you break a stick, you snap it. But there's another kind of break that's spelled like this. This kind of brake is what you step on when the car is going too fast, right? A brake, or even on your bike, a brake is what slows you down. All right, do you guys see any other homophones? Talked about break, great. How about steak? We know that a steak is a piece of meat. It comes from a cow, right? A juicy steak. But there's another kind of steak spelled like this, and that would be like a pole. Like if you're growing a tomato plant and you don't want it to fall over, you might put some stakes in the ground, or if you're setting up a tent, you might put some stakes, some long sticks in the ground to hold everything up. So steak, break, and grate are all homophones. One more homophone that you might not be aware of is the word palate. This kind of palate is the roof of your mouth. Sometimes if you bite into pizza and it's really hot, you might burn your palate, the roof of your mouth. We also use that to talk about someone's taste. So little kids have a different palate than grown-ups. Little kids love the taste of chicken nuggets and mac and cheese, where a more mature palate might like to try seafood or vegetables, you know, some other stuff. So your palate can be the roof of your mouth or your taste, the things you like to eat. But there's another kind of palate spelled like that, and that's what an artist uses. It's like a big board with little splotches of paint, and then they can dab and mix the different colors on the palette. Okay, so down here, let's say green oval equals homophones, okay? Later in your book, this week, instead of talking about a new prefix, suffix, or root, when you get to page 56, you're going to have a whole page of homophones to practice. All right, so let's just finish up with vocab. I think you know what again means, and against, right? You push against something. A bargain is a great deal. So some people love shopping because they love to find sales. They love to find things that are marked down. They are looking for bargains. A captain is a leader. It could be the captain of the baseball team. It could be the captain of a military unit, or it could be the captain of a police department, okay? But the captain is the person in charge. Climate is the usual weather in a place, okay? So if you think about Hawaii, it has a very hot climate. It's hot most of the year. If you think about the rainforest, some rainforests have a very hot climate. They also are known for their rainy climate. Deserts are known for their dry climate. So when you're talking about the climate, you're talking about the usual temperatures and the usual amount of rainfall or precipitation in a place. A curtain, something that covers a window. Sometimes we call it a drape. We talked about great and palette. A pirate is a thief, but on the open seas. So I'm just going to say pilot equals an ocean thief, okay? So if you think back to the old stories about the pirates that would attack a ship and steal all the gold, that's kind of the idea here. Private means personal. It's not shared with everyone, so it's the opposite of public. So if you have a social media account or you're posting stuff online, you know there are certain things that you should keep private. You never tell people your name, your age, your address, things like that, okay? Because private means personal. Senate. A couple weeks ago we talked about Congress. We know that Congress is the branch of government that makes laws, but if you look at the Congress, it's broken into two parts. We have the House of Representatives, and then we have the Senate. Okay, every state in the U.S. sends 2 senators to Washington, D.C. to make laws. So we're going to say part of government, G-O-V-T, that makes laws. Okay, notice there's an uppercase S because this is a proper noun. We're talking about the Senate. It's a specific group. A template is a pattern. So if you want to write a business letter or you want to write a resume, but you don't really know how to set everything up, you can search online for a template. If you want to make a birthday invitation online, you can find a template. You find the pattern and then you just type in the information that's specific to you. So a template is a pattern. And then the villain, I'm going to put it in quotes, but it's the bad guy. Of course, it could be the bad girl as well, but in most stories, there's a troublemaker, there's someone that's causing problems, and that person is known as the villain. Okay, that's all I have for you guys today. Good luck, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.